legends, celebrities from TV, music, movies, literature, politics, and show business. At one time or another, they all come to the Ron Sedgy Show. So why don't you?
You can try fighting the law all you want, but the law is always going to win. From politicians and celebrities to sports figures and business leaders, they're fighting the law. Now, here to sort out the nation's top legal news stories is America's favorite legal analyst, Royal Oakes. This is the Royal Oakes Show.
Robbing people with a 6-gun. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won.
Thank you, Michael Warren, and welcome to the Royal Oakes Show. And welcome to our co-host, Ken Jeffries.
Hi there.
And how you be? Pretty exciting week for your wife, Stephanie, on Vice on HBO.
She was on Vice TV on HBO back on Monday, the first day
About
of the
teacher strike, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
and
everybody,
she's still out, you know.
Google it. You can go on Facebook on Ken's page, and you can see Stephanie's brilliant comments, or you can go on HBO if you got HBO.
Yeah, I think it's you just Google, Vice HBO and Los Angeles teacher strike, and it'll come up.
Sounds good. And welcome to our millennial correspondent, Connor Oakes. How you doing, Connor?
Good as always. Happy to be here.
I know you're a huge fan of Ben Shapiro, and we were just chatting off the air about a really magnificent performance by Ben Shapiro that you actually caught. It had something to do with abortion. I know he feels strongly about the pro-life movement.
He feels very strongly, very strongly.
So what was it that Ben Shapiro contributed to the ongoing abortion debate?
It was glorious. So he appeared at something called the March for Life, where they were protesting the existence of reproductive rights for women. And his argument against abortion boiled down to the line that gets snipped out was, no true pro-life person would go kill baby Hitler if they had a time machine. And everyone said, of course, first of all, thank you for elevating the level of our discourse and conversation to this high plane.
I don't think that's the best argument for his position.
Right. It seems like bringing up literally the only baby in all of human history we all agree you're allowed to kill is a bad argument for not killing babies.
Yeah, that's kind of weird, because Shapiro was supposedly a really smart guy. I mean, I know you think he's horribly wrong on all the issues, Connor, but didn't he go to UCLA at like age 15 and graduate at 18 or 19?
Did he? I don't know.
Super high IQ, and he's written some amazing books. So, but for him to kind of step in it and say something stupid is kind of weird. But we're going to keep listening to him on KABC, aren't we, now? Because he's on there every afternoon.
I'm sure the context is better.
He did
live on tape from Hollywood.
Yeah.
And he did put up the entire comment claiming that he was, taken out of, taken out of context.
When I started talking about baby Hitler and time machines, it was serious. It was serious,
taken out of context. Now, guys, I want to inject a little excitement and drama to the show here. If you're watching, you can see an envelope that I received from,
with your home address on it. That's great.
From,
just put that out on the internet.
It's from Donald Trump. Okay?
People can send you bombs in the mail.
Geraldo Rivera, who used to be on KABC, AM 790, but no longer is. Remember, he went into Al Capone's vault?
Oh, yeah.
And he found a bottle cap?
Yeah.
Yes,
glorious.
I am going to open for the world to see this letter from Donald Trump. I've not, as you can see, it's been hermetically sealed. Porch.
Drum roll.
And we're going to see what Donald Trump is saying to me. I'm pretty excited. It was addressed, as you can see,
to your home address.
To me. You don't have to read that off, Connor. Thanks very much. Dear Mr. Oakes, that's not very personal.
You're going to be the next...
look at this. The Republican National Committee, 2019. My membership card from Donald Trump.
God.
I'll read it in full later, and I'll decide whether or not I want to donate any money.
Don't you remember you are a centrist now? So you need to go downtown and turn in your card.
That was a big fat joke. I'm still conservative. I'm actually more of a libertarian. I just finished a book about poverty, and I'm blanking on the name of the book. I'll mention it next week. But it's by a libertarian, and it's about the solutions to poverty. And it is an amazing book. It's got some incredible solutions and an amazing level of acknowledgement of racism and the continuing ripple effect of racism, slavery, Jim Crow.
Well, can you explain? Can you summarize the the book? Or
yeah, essentially he says we should get rid of drug laws. We should revise the criminal justice system where we've got this mass incarceration because young black men are taken out of the community at an amazing rate and not there for their wives and kids, which is crucial because the whole key to getting rid of poverty is, number one, finish high school, number two, get a job, any job, and number three, wait to have a baby until you're married. If you do those three things, it's a virtual guarantee you're going to lift yourself out of poverty. And many communities have a huge number of people who don't do that. And I'm also sympathetic to his arguments about the whole ban the box. I was always thinking, well, if I'm an employer, I'd like to know if somebody killed 18 people, you know, tell me about your criminal record. He's saying this is a death sentence for the ability to actually get a job.
Takes people out of the workforce.
Especially for arrest records, but even for minor things. And the whole thing about, I mean, so many people are behind bars because of drug offenses. Legalize the damn drugs. If people want to take drugs, let them do it. You know, what if we got this blue nose attitude in society toward, you know, we don't think that's very nice to be taking these. You can take alcohol and get as drunk as you want. Why not let people take drugs and get as drunk as they want, as long as they're not driving cars and killing people?
I mean, we've got a massive opioid crisis in America, but no one thinks that locking people up for doing drugs is solving that crisis. No one is proposing, well, what if we just put more people behind bars and put more people in the slammer and ruin their lives? That'll definitely help them turn themselves around. It's not how it works. You can help people get off of drugs and improve their lives, but putting them in the slammer is not the way to do it.
During a break, I'm going to actually get the name of the book and the author, and I'll fill you in on that.
What about cash bail? Now, cash bail has been put on hold in California.
That's true.
That's eliminating cash bail.
That's one of the other reforms is to make sure that people who are in poverty aren't forced to spend months or even years behind bars.
But it's been put on hold now till next year, I think, because of a ballot measure.
That's right. What's happened is that the ACLU actually, well, let's back up. People who worry about the rights of the poor have said for a long time, cash bail is a bad idea, because why should a rich guy who can make bail be free on the street, and a poor person who can't make money bail, he's stuck behind bars? So that was the inspiration for the California progressive reformers, and now we don't have cash bail. And now the ACLU isn't happy, because the ACLU is noticing that it's prosecutors and judges that are deciding, oh, you, Mr. Poor Person, we're not going to deny bail because you can't come up with the money. We're just going to deny bail because we think you're likely you're a risk to flee or reoffend.
But it would be up to judges, right? Not it would be up to prosecutors.
Prosecutors give input. Defense attorneys give input. Yeah, but you're right. It's basically up to the judges. So, that is an element of reform that people are talking about. Plus, they're talking about getting rid of regulations. So the big stories of the week, impeachment. The Buzzfeed got everybody's hopes up, everybody who hates Donald Trump. And then Robert Mueller was a buzzkill because he came along and said, I think Buzzfeed got it wrong. We're going to talk about the wall.
Whoa. Let's back up here.
Okay.
Not defending Buzzfeed.
All right.
Because I don't know, I know about the story too, and it's I don't know if it, who knows if it's.
You're saying you read
true.
The papers.
The problem is the statement from Mueller's office said it wasn't accurate.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What's the difference between accurate and true?
Well, to quote Rudy Giuliani, truth isn't truth.
Yeah, but Mueller's not a fan of Rudy Giuliani.
No, but.
It was a strangely worded announcement.
You're right. It wasn't accurate, and now BuzzFeed, I think, went back to Mueller asking Mueller, well, what do you mean by that?
What are you saying?
So that's where we are. It's like
I know that some people were trying to pick apart every syllable in Mueller's statement. I mean, it was an extraordinary statement. Basically, he's been a sphinx now for a couple of years. And some people, I was watching Fox, and one of the anchors was saying, gee, let's look at this word and that intonation and so on. But the bottom line is, it was pretty amazing for him to say anything, and for him to basically squelch what BuzzFeed had said. You can try to draw a distinction between accurate and truthful, but essentially, I think what Mueller was saying is, look, down the road, but what BuzzFeed alleged, which is essentially, impeachment worthy, Trump told somebody to lie under oath. Congress. That's it. That lights out. Okay, that's Nixon-esque.
Right.
Mueller essentially was saying to himself, if we're quiet now in the face of that, and it turns out later that BuzzFeed got it wrong, we're going to be accused of letting that go and allowing the whole national conversation to be roiled by this, he's out. Because you remember, Thursday and half of Friday, it was like, let's just make plans for the Pence administration. This is it. And now, all bets are off. So, I think it's...
and a possible black eye for journalism. I mean, that's, if you want to paint it with a really broad brush, I mean, the journalist would be taking it in the shorts, as it were.
Yep.
And
so in addition to that, we're going to talk about the wall. Trump and Nancy are in a big cat fight about, him stopping her trip to Afghanistan and her saying, why don't you just phone in your State of the Union address? We're going to talk about toxic masculinity. Is it a pernicious practice or just biology at work? And finally, we're going to talk about Kristen Gillibrand from New York, the senator. She was Stephen Colbert's guest. And the question is she a big fat hypocrite based on her rather conservative voting record before she started running for president? But let's get back to the top story about the Buzzfeed business. So I thought it was interesting that the reaction by a lot of people was, oh my gosh, this is it for Trump. And I think it's because a lot of people believe that Trump is the kind of guy who, yes, would urge Michael Cohen to lie to Congress. Do you think that was sort of the sense for about 24 hours before Mueller stepped in, that a lot of people were not surprised that Donald Trump would do something like that?
No, I think everybody's just kind of waiting for the shoe to drop, and they're just thinking, as soon as there is a document or a tape or a video or something, or a very credible witness confirming that Trump has done something like this, we'll know all about it. Because, I mean, just the guy's personality, he's the most mob boss style president we've ever had, probably one of the most mob boss style presidents or heads of state in history. There were a bunch of them who were, probably actively in organized crime, and he's probably one step away.
Well, he's a salesman, okay? And I think what people have picked up is the fact that salesmen, they're into puffery, and let's be frank, when their lips are moving, they're lying.
Right.
That's the nature of sales.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's pernicious or evil, because people kind of know, when you walk onto the used car lot, that somebody is going to be exaggerating like that. And so, but I think it's kind of sad that so many people would have assumed that, yes, our president is the kind of guy who would urge Michael Cohen to lie under oath. I think it's interesting that this, telling him to lie under oath, is kind of a tweener between Clinton and Nixon, because it's interesting if you look at the three guys, Clinton, Nixon, and Trump.
Yeah.
Clinton urged Monica to lie.
Right.
He suborned perjury, and he lied himself under oath. But we didn't care because it was all about sex. Even though it was perjury, it's still about sex. So we didn't care, and he didn't get out of office. Now you go to Nixon. He urged a cover-up. He urged perjury.
Like he got $1 million.
In effect.
Remember that?
Yeah, exactly right. And we're going to go tell them it was the CIA that engineered the break-in at the Watergate, so tell the FBI to stand down. Now, that was enough to get him out. It wasn't lying about sex. It was about political espionage. Even though when you think about it, Nixon didn't do the underlying thing. He didn't authorize the burglary, as far as we know. Clinton, on the other hand, had sex with Monica.
Yeah.
So here you have Nixon and Clinton, and one of them left Nixon, and Clinton didn't have to leave because it was about sex. So in between, I think, is Trump. If you believe that he urged Michael Cohen to lie, he didn't do the underlying thing like the sex that Clinton committed, and yet it's more serious than lying about sex, I think people would believe, because there's no evidence that Trump actually colluded with Russia to influence the election. He simply talked about the Moscow Tower through June 2016, not through January 2016. That's the lie that Trump allegedly told Michael Cohen to tell to Congress. I don't want it during the campaign coming out that I was talking about the Trump Tower.
Right.
So it seems like it's more like sex. So to me, even if it turned out that in fact he did tell him to lie, maybe it wouldn't mean impeachment by his own senators.
I think the argument that the Stormy Daniels cover-up hush money payments is close enough tangentially about sex. I get that he would get off the hook and the American public would let him go scot-free because it's just lying about sex, and we let dudes do that all the time. But this being about the Moscow Trump Tower thing is too directly connected to collusion, I believe. I really think that, we got Rudy Giuliani on television
but talking
once
about
again.
A real estate deal isn't the same as influencing the election and saying, I'm glad you got the WikiLeaks release the emails in October.
But it's too damning that he would say lie to Congress, that therefore we believe there must be other underlying things he's covering up.
It is a bit of a fib. When we come back, we're going to prove the LA Times is biased. Big shock.
We'll be back on CRN with the Royal Oak Show.
Hey, Lorraine, do you realize that your mother, my mother-in-law, Chef Maria, has been serving Las Vegas since 1949?
Yes, I do, Dennis. That's when she first met Howard Hughes, who fell in love with her cooking.
And in 1955, she opened her first restaurant on Fremont Street.
Yes, dear. And another great customer was Liberace.
Wow. Then in 1962, while Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack were causing global excitement on the Las Vegas Strip, your family opened their second restaurant.
And in 1972, Elvis Presley began electrifying Las Vegas audiences and eating in our restaurants.
You know, Lorraine, this is quite a town. There's only one Las Vegas.
And there's only one Bootlegger Italian Bistro.
Folks, when you're in Las Vegas, come visit us. We'll make you feel like you're part of our family.
The Bootlegger Italian Bistro, conveniently located at 7700 Las Vegas Boulevard, South Strip. Visit our website at www.bootleggerlasvegas.com.
Hi, everybody. Michael Horn from CRNTalk.com. You know, we provide you with the best in talk radio. 8 channels of talk radio, from radio on the left, radio on the right, sports talk, business talk, religious talk, Spanish talk, you name it, we've got talk radio for you. All at CRNTalk.com. Well, now we'll bring you video as well as audio. That's right. Watch your favorite shows like The Robert Conrad Show, The Fred Dreyer Program, What's Cooking Today, What's Cooking on Wine, The Lounge, and so many other shows in video right at our website, CRNTalk.com. You can also watch us on Roku. Just search CRN Talk, and you can watch us on Roku on any TV anywhere in the world. Also on Facebook Live. Go to Facebook.com/CRN Digital Talk. Facebook.com/CRN Digital Talk. Roku, search CRN Talk. Check us out on Tiki Live and at CRNTalk.com. Video for you talk fans, all from CRN Talk.
Imagine this is your money and someone wants to take it from you. Who is it? The IRS. They want your money, and guess what? They can legally take it, all of it if they want. Remember, they sent you that letter that said, hey, you owe us a bunch of cash and we're going to take it from you. So what do? Fight back by letting our team of experts at the Tax Helpline work it out with the IRS so you can keep your money. And we're good at what we do. When you hire us, you get a team of guys on your side that know the IRS laws and will fight to save your money. So if you owe the IRS a ton of cash and you want to keep it, call right now and learn for free how we can help you put it back in your pocket.
800-932-1597. 800-932-1597. 800-932-1597. That's 800-932-1597.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show with our co-host Ken Jeffries and our millennial correspondent Connor Oakes. So we're going to get into, in a second, to proof. I have Exhibit A and Exhibit B to prove to you that the Los Angeles Times is incredibly biased. Incredibly. If you had any doubt. But before that, our feature, a moron of the week, we have 2 stupid people we want to talk about, and then we're going to vote at the end of the show as to who the stupidest is. First one, this is a pretty easy candidate, guys. You've heard this Bird Box challenge. Sandra Bullock has this movie, Bird Box, and apparently she has to blindfold herself or else she'll see paranormal creatures. And so, she runs up on blindfolded. And so, of course, some clever teenagers are deciding to do Bird Box challenges where they do things blindfolded. And a young girl, 17-year-old girl, blindfolded, if she's driving and she hits another car. Apparently there was another teenager with her in the car, not helping a lot.
It really wasn't the bird brain challenge.
Yeah. Fortunately, nobody was killed or no mayhem like the guy on the auto insurance commercials, but she did hit another car. So she's a candidate. Now tell me, is it IQ, or is it maturity, or is it peer pressure, or just horrible judgment, or some combination? How is it that anybody, whether they're 15 or 17 or 110, would blindfold themselves and drive a freaking car?
So I've got to know.
Yeah.
So they're doing
What is the cause?
They're doing it to post the video of it online, so that, you could say, would be peer pressure.
How can you post a video while you're blindfolded?
Well, the other people film you while you do things blindfolded.
Not blindfolded. Or
while you run into walls and the rest. Right. YouTube actually just said that YouTube will no longer be a platform for dangerous
good for them
pranks And some people say that this is connected to the Bird Box Challenge because people
I think it
definitely
was,
took that way too far. But they made a big announcement yesterday saying we're going to de-host and a bunch of videos that show people doing really dangerous things, and especially in a way that minimizes their danger, because it's people copycat.
I think Johnny Knoxville should be deported.
Oh, that's the old the jackass.
Prohibited from using a camera.
Mostly skateboarded into shopping carts and put Matchbox toy cars up his rear end. These aren't especially dangerous activities.
That's how Matchbox 20 was found.
They're painful.
Sounds unpleasant.
No, I guess not. I'm sorry.
They're painful, but not dangerous.
All right, so let's get to the Los Angeles Times. I mean, when I was a kid, we get the Times every day. They were just fine. Republicans owned them, so they were okay.
Chandler,
and then they moved left and left and left. And now this new billionaire
left and left
doctor,
and left and left. That comes back around to a right.
Maybe.
So you're good.
This billionaire doctor just bought them
Patrick Soon-Chong.
9 months ago, and I'm thinking, well, at least maybe it'll make it more centrist. But I keep opening it, and it's still biased. Okay, I'm going to prove it to you. Number one, Exhibit A.
Exhibit A.
Is the Los Angeles Times headline this morning. Now, here's the background. We're talking Buzzfeed here. Thursday, Buzzfeed comes out and says, Donald Trump urged Michael Cohen to lie to Congress. Okay, impeachment-worthy, arguably. Big deal. And for about 24 hours, all the talk was, oh, my gosh, we're on the brink of impeachment. And then Friday afternoon, Mueller comes along and says, no, not really. That wasn't accurate. Okay. Saturday morning, this morning, we have headlines. We have the Los Angeles Times reporting on this. And what do they say? They say, House to probe Cohen report. I'm thinking, oh, but I thought the Cohen report, that was debunked by a House to probe. Well, let's go to the sub-headline. Democrats will look into allegations that the president ordered his former lawyer to lie to Congress. Doesn't say anything about BuzzFeed in the headline or the sub-headline. Well, it must be in the lead,
You mean
right?
about Mueller. Yeah, but Mueller walking it back.
Nothing about the Mueller debunking.
Right.
It's not there. Oh, then when you get about 10 paragraphs down,
below
it says,
the fold,
BuzzFeed's description was criticized by Mr. Mueller. And then they're back to reporting how the Democrats...
Wait. The headline at all? There was nothing in the headline?
Nothing in the headline or the sub-headline or the first 4 or 5 paragraphs. And this is the second day, so they're repeating the allegation. This is Saturday morning when they should be reporting that Mueller came out and debunked it. Now, you say, well, is the LA Times alone? Yes, they are alone. Look at the Daily News. The headline, Mueller disputes Cohen article. Gee, they got it right. Well, what about the Wall Street Journal?
Sure.
They say on the front page that they talk about Mueller criticizing the BuzzFeed. Mueller's office disputed BuzzFeed report. Gee, that's the lead. What about the New York Times, the failing New York Times? Once again, they come out and they say that Mueller is criticized. BuzzFeed disputed. So the front page of the Daily News, the Wall Street Journal, and the New York Times all get it right, and they say, we're advancing the story. BuzzFeed is criticized by Mueller, but not the Los Angeles Times. Oh, you say they had a bad day? Well, let's look at Exhibit B to prove bias by Los Angeles Times. The shutdown story. Here we have the Los Angeles Times. With Pelosi, Trump avoids attack mode. Does he fear the new House Speaker or respect her power? Is he afraid of Nancy Pelosi? So they don't talk about the fact that he ripped up her trip to Afghanistan. What does the Wall Street Journal say? Trump blocks Pelosi's trip as shutdown fight escalates. What's this? Trump hits back and Pelosi's visit to troops is off. How is it that the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal get it right and to the extent that you are defending Trump, and the Los Angeles Times gets it wrong?
I agree. It seems like they're about 24 hours behind.
I think they're kind of biased. I think we should all probably cancel our subscriptions. When we get back, guess the verdict.
We'll be back on CRN with the Royal Oak Show. You're experiencing pain, back pain, shoulder, elbow, or hand pain, pain from a sports injury. If so, schedule a visit with Dr. Michael Sheps, the leading expert in laser therapy for pain management. Call 310-873-4422 or go to drsheps.com. Experience Epic T, the breakthrough laser therapy system that Dr. Sheps developed to make you pain-free in less time. Laser therapy is a non-invasive, safe, and effective in-office procedure that penetrates deep into your skin without damaging
the tissue. It perfectly targets areas of pain to promote fast, natural healing. Relax your muscles, ease muscle spasms, joint stiffness, and arthritis pain while increasing blood circulation. For over 25 years, Dr. Sheps has helped Olympic athletes and sports enthusiasts alike get back in the game. Schedule your visit with Dr. Sheps at his Brentwood office in California. Call 310-873-4422 or visit drsheps.com. That's DRSHEPS.com, 310-873-4422.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Their expert staff can help you turn your book idea into a real book, a masterpiece that could someday make the bestseller list in hard copy and digitally all across the world. Page Publishing can help you completely take your idea for a book, write it, and publish it. So if you want to join the ranks of some of the most famous authors in the world, call now for a free information kit. Turn your book idea into publishing gold. Make a free call right now to Page Publishing.
800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. That's 800-378-3212. The following ad contains shocking material. Listener discretion is advised. Is someone in your family playing a dangerous game of Russian roulette? Over 43,000 people die a year from drug overdose. 120 people a day. 5 people every hour. 1 person every 12 minutes. 88,000 people die every year from alcohol abuse. Over 240 people a day. 10 an hour. 1 person every 6 minutes. Somebody you know may be next. Learn how to help someone you love get away from the drugs, alcohol, and bad influences. With the FMLA, people can take a leave of absence from their job and still keep it. Call Quit Drugs 321 now at 800-378-3315, 800-378-3315, 800-378-3315. That's 800-378-3315.
We are the debt destroyer. Any debt you have, credit card, tax, student loan debt. Call now to get our free report that tells you how to destroy your debt. It's a great resource. Plus, when you make this free call right now, we'll have a debt destroyer expert ready to help you. They can show you how they can help you destroy your debt and get your life back on track. Debt problems don't have to be overwhelming. You can live stress-free and debt-free. Credit cards, medical bills, IRS tax problems, even student loan debt. Learn about free programs offered by the credit card companies, hospitals, and even the government that can help you slash your debt. Call right now for free information, including our Debt Destroyer Guide, a $300 value, yours free. Call right now.
800-515-6348. 800-515-6348. That's 800-515-6348.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show. With our co-host Ken Jeffries and our millennial correspondent Connor Oakes. You guys are so good at guessing the verdicts of these lawsuits. Yes, those are the dulcet tones of Glenn Campbell. Thank you, Glenn. It was a great long ride you had. So I'm going to give you 2 lawsuits, and you get to guess who the big winners were. A Florida woman has sued Federal Express for failing to notify her that a package had been placed near the doorway of her home. Apparently, the woman was exiting her home and didn't see the package, so she tripped and fell. She's seeking $1 million, compensatory damages, physical pain, mental anguish, and humiliation. Apparently, the little boy, Macaulay Culkin, next door saw her, and I guess that's the humiliation.
That's pretty humiliating.
Or maybe there was a satellite picture of her or something, and the guys at NORAD are laughing at her. I don't know what her theory was exactly, but what's your guess, Ken? Do you think she won, or did FedEx prevail in this titanic
FedEx
legal
prevailed for some reason.
I
just don't know why.
I would like to think that FedEx would prevail in this, given that her entire theory is they did exactly what their job is, which is to put packages on my doorstep. But people so hate the idea that FedEx would show up and not notify them that they are there and leave a tag saying, "Hey, we missed you," even though I was home the whole time. That
you know what they do? Well, they usually do. They go like this. They ring the bell, seriously, and that's it. End of story, and they disappear.
They run away, right? And jurors will hate that, so I think they're going to stick it to FedEx for no darn good reason.
Ken was right. FedEx won.
Whew, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Thank goodness I was wrong.
Here's the second suit. An inmate. This is football season, so this is a good story. Inmate in a Colorado prison has filed a suit for $88 billion. Against the National Football League. The suit stems from a ruling made by officials during a playoff game between the Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers a few years ago. The officials determined that a catch made by Des Bryant of the Cowboys was incomplete. The inmate disagreed. His suit alleged NFL officials acted negligently, breached their fiduciary duty. Why is he suing for $88 billion? Because Des Bryant's jersey number was 88. So how do you think this lawsuit might have turned out, Connor Oakes?
I suspect that it did not make it more than 6 months. I think this one got thrown out on its butt.
You're a little skeptical. How about you, Ken? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too, because it gets into the the National Football League is a private, isn't it like a private organization or something? And you can't.
I can sue them for whatever I want. That private organization slapped me.
It's their rules and it's their refs and it's their ball game and it's their, whatever.
You guys are both right. Your perfect record is intact,
unsullied.
And besides, I would have read about it anyway before. That's one thing you'll remember as a sports fan. I would remember that. I think.
Yep.
All these years later.
So the wall, the controversy continues. Just today, there's a little new development. President Trump is saying, "Well, I'm going to give the Dreamers at least a while of safety and the DACA kids. How about that as a quid pro quo for the wall?" And apparently Nancy is poo-pooing it.
Yeah, immediately came right out and said, as she put it, what's new in his statement isn't good, and what's good in his statement isn't new. This is not the way to open the government back up. Basically, he's saying, I'm going to give the Dreamers a temporary extension, but courts have already been giving the Dreamers temporary extensions of the protections that the Act used to grant before Trump took them away. So Trump basically comes into office, takes away the Dreamers' protections, and then shuts down the government, holds them hostage, and says, okay, well, I'll give this thing that I unilaterally took away back temporarily if you give me $5.7 billion to build a big stupid wall that won't do anything.
Wasn't this also some background? I thought like Jared and Vice President Pence went to some Democrats or something and reached this kind of a compromise.
I hope they didn't go alone without Pence's wife.
Well, they weren't drinking, so it's okay. Yeah, no, I think you're right. There was some behind-the-scenes negotiations.
But even I guess it's a non-starter.
But here's the problem Trump faces, and the Wall Street Journal had an interesting article a day or two ago about how the wall is basically unpopular. And these are amazing numbers. The Washington Post poll says Americans oppose the wall 54 to 42%. Quinnipiac said 55 to 43%. By a 2-to-1 margin, Americans reject the tactic of closing the government to force Congress to approve funding the wall. The formal presidential address didn't help at all. They say 2% said their minds were changed by the speech.
That was about, what, 2 weeks ago now?
God, it feels like a year.
Didn't help him at all. By 65 to 32%, voters said they would disapprove if the president invoked emergency powers.
Yeah, which he didn't today.
Yeah, so what should he do? I mean, the conclusion by this columnist is he's got 3 options. 1, he can stand his ground. 2, he can invoke emergency powers. 3, he can wheel and deal and try to have more comprehensive immigration, such as the Dreamers and so on. What do you think the president's best option is?
I mean, I think he's painted himself into a corner, and his only option, his only realistic option, is the emergency powers move. I think that's silly, and obviously, I think an abuse of the emergency powers.
He could try that, I think, knowing that it would probably be thrown up. Could it be thrown up by the courts right away?
Exactly.
And he could go to his base and say, "Hey, I'm trying." Right.
Yeah, I did my best. I did all I could, and these darn liberal judges that I appointed.
And I'll open the government now.
Exactly. And then the government gets.
You never know. The Supreme Court, as it's currently constituted, just might be on his side there.
Never know. But again, same as I felt last week, I feel like Trump has no desire to actually see this wall built, and thus he will not be invoking the Emergency Powers Act and actually just starting trucks full of concrete rumbling towards the border, because that will only begin the cavalcade of failures and delays and overruns of costs that will embarrass him endlessly.
So how does he get out of it?
I think he gets out of it by saying, I did my best. on this one, and the Democrats are obstructionist jerks, and they're the ones to blame for the reason that nothing's getting done.
And every crime between now and the 2020 election,
blame the do-nothing Congress.
By the illegals, it's on their head. Exactly. Yep, I agree. So this week, William Barr went through his confirmation hearings, and it looks like he's going to be approved as Attorney General. Apparently, he and his wife were social friends with the Muellers.
Yeah,
and so maybe Trump has appointing somebody who won't be as anti-Mueller as we think. Barr is vowing transparency, but he's not promising to release a Mueller report. Now, the regulations say that Mueller has to give a confidential report to the Attorney General, Barr, with reasons why he's saying so-and-so should be charged or not charged. Barr is saying, I have a right to recap this. The Democrats are saying, we don't want the Barr report. We want the Mueller report. And it may be very short because his indictments have kind of spoken for Mueller. Usually, the Department of Justice does not explain why they are not charging with somebody unless you're James Comey and you want a big press conference and so on. So, first question I have is there any way that the report in full doesn't get leaked? I mean, with so many people in the deep state who hate Donald Trump.
And if it's leaked to Buzzfeed, who'd believe him?
Well, yeah, but I mean, if they've got an actual copy, if somebody tosses it through the transom at the New York Times, the New York Times prints it, they didn't go to jail after Watergate or the Pentagon Papers.
Right.
Yeah.
Pentagon Papers.
So don't you think that this is all, much ado about nothing? Aren't we going to see the full Mueller report?
Yes.
Whether they release it or not?
I believe so. I don't think there's any way that thing keeps, under wraps forever. In the scenario, naturally, that Trump is, not recommended to be indicted.
So the next question is there any way that Robert Mueller, and, let's just acknowledge the bias of his teammates, he's got 15 or 16 people, all of whom, apparently, through their contributions in the past and their political statements, they're all left of center. None of them is a fan of Trump. Is there any way that after all these years and all the talk of everything that Maxine Waters and Adam Schiff has pointed out in terms of obstruction of justice and Trump's motivation for firing Comey and so on, is there any way that the Mueller report doesn't come down and slam Trump and give grounds for the Democrats running the House? All they need is a simple majority to impeach Donald Trump this year.
Yeah, I think it's possible. I think that these folks are probably very cautious and very aware of all the scrutiny that they're under and how heavily a recommendation for an indictment or a recommendation, I guess, for an impeachment, though it's not their job to recommend impeachment, but it's their job to report things that naturally would lead there. They're very aware of how much pressure they're under, and they're very aware that people view them the way that you view them, as leftists, as people who are targeting the president. There's certainly been constant attacks on the Mueller investigation from the administration. From, to your point about, the fact that these people are left of center, what they really are is you said, is people who dislike
Fabulous
Trump.
patriots?
People who dislike Trump.
Okay.
Well, guess what? Mueller, a career Republican.
Even Melania dislikes Trump?
Yeah. Mueller, a career Republican, looks around for the team of, 24 or whatever most capable people on the planet, capable, smart, driven, with great experience and reputations, impeccable reputations, and he pulls together this team, and guess what? They don't like Trump. Shocker that all the capable, smart people in the world don't like Trump, and you literally cannot assemble a jury of 24 people to go on Mueller's team, any of whom are smart and capable and actually like this president. Because no one likes this president except Lindsey Graham, who actually hates this president, except Mitch McConnell, who actually hates this president. No one likes the president.
I think Robert Mueller should have tried harder.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's talk toxic masculinity. I know that, Ken, you've been accused many times of being toxically masculine.
It seeps out of his pores.
So Gillette, making the blades, and so they put out a big ad saying, all right, guys, don't be guilty of toxic masculinity. And, these guys, I don't know that they're going to keep buying those Gillette blades. A lady psychoanalyst wrote a piece in the Wall Street Journal. Erica Commissar is the lady psychoanalyst I referred to.
Yes.
And she says there are new guidelines from the American Psychological Association defining traditional masculinity as a pathological state. It's marked by stoicism, competitiveness, dominance, and aggression. It's on the whole harmful. Claims it is to blame for the oppression and abuse of women. It encourages clinicians to evaluate masculinity as an evil to be tamed rather than a force to be integrated. She says The truth is that masculine traits like aggression, competitiveness, and protective vigilance not only can be positive, but also have a biological basis. Boys and men produce far more testosterone. They produce more vasopressin, a hormone originating in the brain that makes men aggressively protective of their loved ones. There are feminine traits like nurturing and emotional sensitivity. Women produce more oxytocin when they nurture their children. So, what do you think? Who has the better side of this debate? Should we worry about toxic masculinity, or should we worry about emasculating guys because women have gone so far in the Me Too movement that the guys are going to be now afraid to or reluctant to reflect their natural testosterone-fueled hormones?
No, we're not. We should not be afraid that men are the oppressed ones in our society. Toxic masculinity, viewing it as this woman is saying, oh, toxic masculinity is accusing men of being these testosterone-fueled, hormone monsters who can't make good decisions and commit crimes. That's not what the phrase toxic masculinity means. The toxicity of toxic masculinity is what it does to the man. It's describing the way that societal norms, these rigid rules that we apply.
That's tautological. In other words, it's a needless repetition of an idea. It's redundant to say toxic masculinity. If you're calling it toxic, then you're saying it's bad. But she's saying that masculinity isn't bad. Her point here is, she says, what's unhealthy isn't masculinity or femininity, but the demeaning of masculine men and feminine women.
Oh, but that's not, when you say, oh, this is an example of toxic masculinity, you're not demeaning a man for being masculine. You're saying, instead, the proper use of the term toxic masculinity is to say, oh, this person who doesn't fit rigid gender norms, this man who doesn't fit rigid gender norms, it feels terrible in our society because he's not manly enough, because he doesn't feel these urges to get out there and protect other people, and he doesn't want to be a cop or a soldier or be the president or whatever and shoot people. Right. These are the notions that, the way we raise our sons can make them feel inadequate or not masculine or whatever else, and it's toxic, in fact, to the person, the man who is not deemed not manly enough. And so that is the true notion of toxic masculinity. And you, of course, there's spillover where, yes, the rigid social norms that we have around masculinity also affect women in society too. And the fact that men will build each other up and create this tension and create these stereotypes that you have to live up to, that has implications for women. That affects their lives, affects the whole of society, because they're all, these men are working themselves into a fervor, being jerks to each other. And so this is a notion where this is not blaming men for being men. This is saying we should be allowing men to be whoever it is they want to be, and not force them to be manly.
But going too far in denying biology? I mean, can you and I both have kids of both genders? Mm-hmm. We each have a boy, we each have a girl in the family. I don't know if you noticed the same thing I did as we were raising our kids, but definitely boys are more aggressive and more physical than girls. There are simply biological differences between them, and I'm wondering.
And women have babies.
Yeah, there's that too, and that's a big impact on in the workplace and so on, and that's a separate occupational factor. But just biologically, do you get the sense that people are going too far in trying to deny nature in terms of what men and women really are?
I think this whole conversation, it's getting silly. It's just, and I want to go home and shave with my Gillette razor right now.
That's right.
This whole Gillette put out a series of commercials talking about addressing this issue.
Just one, really.
Crazy, one commercial. And
I think the bottom line is that it's good to have the conversation, but I think some people go too far in trying to deny reality and biology, because people are different. If you listen to Gloria Steinem, people are not different. And the motivation there is that women have been discriminated against for a long time, and one reaction to discrimination is to say we are equal, period.
Well, they're different. Well, they're different in that only women can have babies. And it gets into the abortion debate too.
Well, what about that Schwarzenegger movie?
That's true.
He was pregnant.
Mr. Mom.
Mr. Mom. Sure. No, that's not Mr. Mom. That's another. No.
They bring that into this very serious conversation. No, I think it's just really we're having two different discussions.
That he was a pregnant man.
We're not
having three. There are three of us.
Yeah, Mr. Mom's in here too. Yeah. No, we're not criticizing men for being masculine. We are criticizing society for telling them that's the only way that a man can be, and then those men feel this intense conflict in their lives because they are not, and their sense of identity and
pressure
is connected to their gender and pressure. And instead, because they feel that pressure, they act a certain way. Honestly, the phrase toxic masculinity is basically excusing male violence and bad behavior because they're saying, look, these men are acting this way because our society is doing this to them. Let's relieve that pressure, and then we won't have as many mass shooters and wife beaters and the rest because they won't be trying desperately to conform to some social norm that they feel inadequately unable to meet up to.
I'm glad you're not criticizing my masculinity, Pilgrim. It's the worst John Wayne impression.
That was really good.
Yeah. It sounds like Howard Cosell.
When we get back, Ken will do a much better John Wayne impression than I just gave.
Bated breath. Bated breath.
Also, we're going to dump on Senator Kristen Gillibrand of New York, because it turns out she's pretty progressive now, but she used to be pretty conservative. Stick with us on the Royal Oak Show.
We'll be back on CRN with the Royal Oak Show.
Were you scammed into signing a timeshare contract? And did you miss the part that said you have to pay for your great idea? Not only for the rest of your life, but when you're not here anymore, you get to pass this turkey onto your family for them to pay for the rest of their lives. Thanks, Dad. Don't burden your family down the road, and don't be stuck with expensive timeshare payments forever. Get out of your bad idea timeshare contract guaranteed, or pay nothing. Call Resort Release today and learn for free how their timeshare exit team can help you legally exit your timeshare contract. They've helped thousands of people, and they're A+ rated with a BBB. So if you feel scammed, get mad and get out of your expensive timeshare contract right now, guaranteed. Call NOW.
800-716-9903. 800-716-9903. 800-716-9903. That's 800-716-9903.
Come to Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante in Fullerton, California for our sizzling party savings. Book your wedding event or reception, your birthday bash, or a special event of any kind and celebrate at Angelo's and Vinci's. Come to Angelo's and Vinci's and celebrate in one of our many festive banquet rooms. It's an incredible fun event you will never forget. Food, music, and lots of fun. Call for the details, and don't forget our daily lunch and dinners, plus our Sunday champagne brunch. Just $14.95. Minestrone soup, sausage and peppers, pastas, chicken dishes, salads, scones and muffins, plus so much more. A chocolate fondue fountain, Zeppelis, cannolis, fresh fruit, champagne, and Junior will be waiting to make the omelet of your choice from our omelet bar. Angelo's and Vinci's has been voted on the Orange County Hot List as one of the top 5 Italian restaurants for the past 6 years. And don't forget our award-winning pizzas. Thin or thick, they're yummy. All at Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante at 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton, California. Call 714-879-4022. 714-879-4022.
The smartest way for you to get the lowest prices on your plane tickets, domestic or international, is to call SmartFares first or last, but you've got to call us before you book your plane tickets. Fly anywhere in the world, fly anywhere in the U.S., and SmartFares can save you up to 75% on your plane tickets. We have the lowest airline ticket prices on over 500 airlines, and you've got a great 12-hour free cancellation window. Plus, with our live agent help, you can always get fast help and fast answers. So on your next trip, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, how about right now? Pick up your phone and call SmartFares, plus save up to 75% on your plane reservation. So call right now. 800-915-2644. 800-915-2644. 800-915-2644. 800-915-2644.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show with our co-host Ken Jeffries and our millennial correspondent Connor Oakes. So guys, moron of the week. First moron was the idiot girl, a 17-year-old who took the Bird Box Challenge and decided to drive blindfolded. Lots of fun. Fortunately, nobody was killed, but she did crash into another car. So that's candidate.
Probably driving pretty slowly.
Maybe. Candidate number 2. He is a submarine commander for the U.S. Navy, Captain Travis Zettel. He's bragging to 2 sailors at a hotel pool that he'd ordered 10 girls to arrive at the hotel. One of the sailors saw 10 provocatively dressed women outside the hotel entrance later. He hired 10 hookers for a party. Confronted with the allegations, he admitted to investigators he had paid for female accompaniment. So there's an idiot to brag to his sailors that he's arranged for 10 hookers to show up at the party. Now he's out. He's no longer commanding the submarine.
Oh, that's not great.
So who's the biggest idiot of the week? The girl who drove blindfolded, or the Navy guy
who torpedoed his entire career?
Oh! Very good. Very good. What do you think? Who's stupider?
I think the Bird Box Challenge girl was probably getting a whole bunch of views on YouTube, so that seems worth it to me to cause major property damage and run over somebody's cat. So I'm going to go with the torpedo guy. He's the worst.
I'm going to go with the Bird Box guy.
I don't know. I'm going to go with
the woman, the Bird Box.
Yeah, I go with the Bird Box because, I mean, it's a victimless crime, this prostitution. As we discussed earlier, the libertarian view should prevail.
Very good point.
Okay, so I promised to be trashing the Senator Kristen Gillibrand. She's as progressive as they get, okay? She wants to be president, okay? Well, when she was running for Congress in a district that twice voted for George W. Bush, guess what she said? She said, I want to make English the official language. I'm against amnesty for illegals.
Oh, that's bad.
She boasted a perfect rating from the National Rifle Association
that's super bad.
Told folks, I keep for personal protection at home. I sleep with 2 long guns under the bed.
Pew, 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 pew.
Then all of a sudden she takes Hillary's Senate seat, and the NRA, she votes completely against them, and they downgrade her to an F. She says, well, I came from a district that was 98% white. I didn't take the time to understand why these issues mattered. It was right in front of me. It was my fault. I'm ashamed and embarrassed about it. Oh, yeah, I want her to be my president.
Somebody who listens when circumstances change and updates her views as the times move along. Get that lady out.
I don't want somebody to listen.
And I think people.
You want somebody who sticks in their ways no matter what their constituency.
And I think people on the left will never forgive her for the Al Franken for pushing Al. Well, Franken did it to himself.
Yeah.
But giving him a little push, the first major political.
And I see that as a plus, as a positive. This is somebody who.
And she said Bill Clinton should have quit.
She abandoned party lines here and said, look, this is a very politically powerful Democrat, a guy who is part of an important, at that point, representing an important seat in Congress. And she said, I don't care. I'm going to stand on principle. He's got to go. And a bunch of liberals really appreciate and respect that. So I don't see that as a knock against her. I see that as a strike in her for column, her pro column.
You may be right. Hypocrite. I'm sorry.
But also, God bless you.
Hey, we were all a little more conservative in our earlier lives and have now gotten a little more liberal as we age, as one does. And therefore, we can't really judge her for doing the same.
We should find a truth serum to give to politicians. Ooh. Hey, it's time for a new feature on the show. It's Connor's Diet Tips. Connor, you know all about paleo diets and so on. Tell us about pegan diets. A pegan diet incorporates paleo and vegan. Vegan refrains from any animal products. Paleo says you can have grass-fed meats and fish. So now the pegan comes along. It's sort of a compromise. Would you advocate that people go with the new pegan as a compromise between paleo and vegan?
I suggest that you spend all of your time and effort in your entire life trying to decide what and which foods you eat, and therefore you never get anything done at all.
Yeah, and you probably don't have time to eat.
It sounds like
it's a good diet.
You save a lot of money and you save a lot of weight. No, it sounds like this is very difficult and complicated to navigate, but maybe it's worth it. Maybe you gotta respect the planet, respect animals, and
but is it
gluten-free? Oh God, no! It's gotta be gluten-free too.
Well, you gotta work on your glutes when you work out.
Good point.
Hey, folks, thanks for sticking with us. See you next week on the Royal Oak Show.
Which is most important because